50 Cent has another hit in Fightland, y'all. And we've got to get into all of the details because I just watched episode 1. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Fightland Season 1, Episode 1. There is going to be spoilers coming up soon. And before I get into the episode, I will forewarn you. So, this is a 50 Cent production of a British drama that is on Starz that is called Fightland. However, I originally thought this was going to be all about the boxing and all of the things, but boy, was I wrong. Now, this is not giving anything away before I actually get into the episode. It is basically based off of a disgraced boxing champion that is released from prison and then returns back to London to get revenge on the crime family that betrayed him, right? So what has happened, and I want to say this, 50 Cent, you did this. 50 Cent, you did that, right? And I see both 50 Cent and Courtney Kemp like to reuse actors that have been in other shows of theirs because I immediately recognize Nicolas Pinnock, who plays Kensley, because he was on the show that was on ABC, you guys. I immediately knew who he was. I immediately was like, wait a second. Wait a second. Let me go to IMDb. Let me go to IMDb because I know this man. I know this man. I know his face. I have seen him before, right? And I was like, what was that show called that was on ABC that they prematurely canceled? And that was the guy that was in jail, that was trying to become a lawyer and get himself out of jail and just wanted to reunite with his family and all of the things, you guys. What was the name of that show? As I am watching this dude throughout the entire episode, I'm like, surely it's going to come to me, right? Surely it's going to come to me. And then it did. It was like for life. For life. Remember that show on ABC that got prematurely canceled that also 50 Cent was affiliated with? I say all that to say before I get into this review/reaction, 50 Cent has, separate from outside of 50 Cent as an entertainer, as a producer, actor, all the things, separate from his social media shenanigans, separate from other stuff that takes place that is outside of, what he does for work. When it comes to documentaries, when it comes to TV shows, when it comes to movies, anything that 50 Cent has put his name on, I have enjoyed. I love the F out of me some Power. I hate how they did, the star of the show, because of creative differences that I need to talk to y'all about in a different video. And I hate that they canceled, For Life prematurely. I love the Diddy documentary, right? I've watched most of 50 power-related shows for the most part, except for BMF. I've seen everything but BMF. Like I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. But anything else affiliated with 50, your girl's seen it, right? So I want to get into the episode. So if you guys have not seen the episode yet, now is the time to exit stage left if you guys do not want to be spoiled. But if you do want to be spoiled, or you do want to see and hear what I have to say about the episode, to make your determination if you want to watch it or not as well, feel free to stick around, right? Feel free to stick around. So originally I thought this was a boxing show. And boy, was I wrong. We start off the episode where ultimately, we're in Las Vegas. And y'all know, I love me some Las Vegas, right? A big time fight is taking place with Duke and an opponent, right? And ultimately, that there was some weird stuff going on in the fight. him and the other fighter take a break, we get to see ringside that there is a reporter that is asking questions to Kingsley because he's the owner of Marshall Promotions, and they are trying to find out, that reporter's trying to get Tay on whether or not the Marshall Promotions boxing company is a front for DRUG and money laundering and all of the things. And Kingsley's like, listen, look at here. Absolutely not, right? And then his son tries to get in on the mix and give, a little word or whatever else. And basically they were like, you know what I'm saying? We're going to see you after this fight. But ultimately, then the father, Kingsley, cussed his son out and was like, what you're not about to do is distract from what is important, which is this family business, this fight out here, right? So we get back to the fight, and Duke lands a knockout punch against his opponent, knocks him out. The fight is over, all of the things. Everybody's celebrating. Next thing you know, there's a back room that the journalists are in, and the marshals are beating him to a pulp. And then allegedly, did I see an axe cut off his foot? No. Basically saying that you are going to respect us in the press, that you are not going to make these allegations, even though it seems like as we go along in the episode, the allegations actually are truthful. Anyways, we get that going on, right? Then what we get as well is Duke is celebrating with a lady his win, his dub, right? He is celebrating his win, his dub. It looks like in the penthouse of one of those Las Vegas hotels. And they're getting it in. They're getting it crack-a-lackin'. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the heavyweight champion of the world. He has won a major fight in Las Vegas. So he has got him this beautiful woman that they are getting it. They are doing the grown-up, you guys. They're doing the grown-up. It was steamy. They had a lot of chemistry and all the things. And then we got an ASS shot of Duke. And I was like, whoa, like we're going there with this show, right? So they're having small talk, and Duke has plans that he wants to take his talents to Los Angeles, and the lady, Joy, was like, I can't do that. I can't be a part of that. And Duke, she put it on him because Duke is like, listen, I love you. I love you. It's always been you. It is always going to be you. All this, all of that. She said, I got to go. Next thing you know, we have an after party to celebrate Duke winning his fight, right? So we got an after party. Everyone is there. We got the Kingsleys, the Marshall kids. They're in the back trying to make some deals. The son is, allegedly hooking up with people in the bathroom and may or may have not taken some Coca-Cola with him and all the things. They asked Duke to give a speech. He gives a speech. Then Kingsley interrupts the speech because he wants to take control, because he is giving Diddy vibes in terms of wanting to be all up in the videos. He's giving Suge Knight type of vibes where he wants to be the face of everything. So he walks in, y'all. And he walks in with the woman that Duke was just sleeping with. No. So we got a love triangle already. And she is sleeping, so that turns out to be, she is Mrs. Marshall. She is Joy Marshall. She is Kingsley's wife, and she's got a thing for Duke. She is feeling her some Duke. She wants Duke bad. She wants Duke down. You know what I'm saying? And so ultimately what has happened after the celebration is over, Duke has a conversation or whatever with his brother, right? So then we get this shot, we get this scene of Duke in the parking lot, and out of nowhere, these two dudes come out and rough him up bad, like jump him, and specifically cause damage to one of his fighting hands, you guys. And then when his brother comes to help and try to save him and try to save things, he starts beating up the two men that are jumping Duke, only for him to end up with this axe, end up with this device that is right there in the carotid artery. And once they hit that carotid artery, that is fast bleeding. You are about to be DEAD in seconds. So basically, the last words were Duke was like, listen, bro, Duke, I love you, right? So then, instead of, Duke calling the police or letting the people know what is taking place, he decides to chase down one of the men who has just unalived his brother and beats him to a pulp. Beats him until he is unalived. You know what I'm saying? Just beats him down, right? And then the police is right there. The police is right there, and it's like, listen here, Duke, you just won the championship of the world, but now you're taking your ASS to jail. So then we get a flash forward of 7.5 years Duke has been in jail. Basically went from heavyweight champion of the world to now a prison inmate for 7.5 years. In Nevada, right? In a jail in Nevada, right? And he is, you know what I'm saying? There's a boxing ring at the jail. He's got all this stuff that he's doing at the jail. He's got pictures of his brother and all this and all of that. Then there's this guy that talks to him that sounds like a DRUG Connect. The DRUG Connect basically introduces him to one of his brother's unalivers that is also in jail. And he gets the tape that they were hired to rough Duke up for sleeping with Kingsley's wife. So basically, they wanted to send a message and cause harm to let them know that Kingsley knows that you're sleeping with his wife, and that's not going to continue. So Duke is pissed because he feels like this could have been a conversation man to man about what it is and what it ain't. And ultimately as well, he's been collecting articles every time anything about the Kingsleys, but he's noticed recently that, Kingsley has been a little bit MIA, right? So the DRUG Connect basically tells Duke in prison, if you unalive this man, if you stab him with this, device I'm about to give you that looks like a screwdriver, you know what I'm saying? If you light him up, you are going to work for me. You are going to work for me on the outside. And why is it, you guys, that Duke followed through with that and jabbing this man up? And ultimately, you guys, we did another flash forward of 6 months later. Why was he out of jail? Why was he out of jail? He got an envelope from the Connect on some money and a phone number to call. And basically his task is going to be to get revenge on the Marshall family and basically tear things up from the inside within. So we see, Duke trying to get reacclimated. He goes to his father's gym. His father and him don't seem like they're on good terms because ultimately this man has been in jail for about 8 years or so and he hasn't contacted anybody. So he has a friend that introduces him back to his dad, and basically he tells his dad that he needs a place to stay. So on the upstairs of the gym, there are some individual rooms and all of this and all of that. And his dad immediately gives him a package that was sent for him, and in that package was a cell phone. So right away on that cell phone, he calls the number that was given to him in jail. And they give him an address. And for some reason, he stupidly wrote the address on a magazine. And it's like, this is where it's like, dude, you're just not thinking with everything, right? You're just not thinking, because why would you put an address and you're about to get into DRUG stuff and unaliving stuff so that anybody else that lives upstairs up there can go into your room and see that magazine? Make it make sense. So he goes down, he meets this gentleman that basically is trying to give him the lay of the land and let him know that you're going to be infiltrating the Marshalls. We're going to be stealing their next, shipment of Coca-Cola. And we are going to watch them go to war against the Russians and whoever else. And we're going to take over all of their territories, right? So what has happened is Duke shows up. There's an upcoming press conference that he crashes for an upcoming fight that the boxers have, right? So he's hanging out. Marshall's has completely revamped everything. All this shmoney. You know what I'm saying? So then from there, a journalist spots him and he asks the sister if he can work for them. If he can work for them, make things right, all of this, all that. That he went MIA, he went ghost, right? So then from there, they, let one of the fighters know that Duke is back. And ask the fighters, is Duke going to be back working for the Marshals? And he says yes. So originally, it was presented as though Duke was going to be helping train these fighters, but Duke is really there to infiltrate, find out when their meetings are, find out all of this and all of that, and basically destroy from within. So then we also see a scene where Duke finds out where Kingsley's wife is, Joy, and he shows up to a real estate property that she's doing an open house at, and just shows up like it's nothing, right? So she said that she escorts out these other people. She gives him this hug. And then she's mad as well because she said, I tried to contact you over 200 and something odd times the entire time you were in jail, and you did not respond once. And he said, I was going through stuff, and, I didn't want to talk to anybody. This doesn't change how I feel about you, blah, right? So then her son comes, and one of their security people basically letting it be known, like, it's time to go. I thought you said you were done at 11. It sounds like the husband's got Joy on even a tighter leash. You know what I'm saying? That the car is going to be right there for you whenever you say your showing is done. He does not want any instances where you have free time to be out here smashing anybody on the side, right? Even though we don't know where the husband is. We have not seen the husband since the beginning of the episode, right? So ultimately that happens, right? Then at nighttime, you guys, there is, the big robbery that takes place where these two men in these rabbit types of masks, they shoot everybody down and take the shipment of the Coca-Cola in this white van, right? And so then what we have is the next day at Marshall's gym, the kids are looking at through the CCTV to try to figure out, okay, who were these people that did this? And then there's somebody in there that was supposed to update the security cameras that got kicked out of the room because they feel that they're incompetent, but they are suspecting that it might be somebody from within. And that was something somebody else had suggested, except for they basically got beat up. And the sister was like, no, that's a good idea. Look everybody in the eye. See who did this. So Duke is walking around with still a jacket because what happened during the robbery, he got pow-powed in the arm. So ultimately, he is walking around still with a jacket that he has on where he got pow-powed in the arm. And it's like, this dude, like, do you got CTE? Like, what is happening that you keep making all these silly moves? Like you weren't careful with dude's wife. If y'all gonna sneak around, y'all need to be more covert at that. You don't think the husband didn't notice that the wife was missing before the after party? You know what I'm saying? And didn't put two and two together? And then you're going to, you know what I'm saying? You're on CCTV getting SHOT. And you don't think people are going to notice a whole bullet hole in your jacket? That it's going to be suspect? And then you show back up at the scene of the crime? What are we doing? So Duke notices these bags that have little earplugs, basically for everybody to communicate secretly in plain sight and everything else. And so he takes one, even though he's not supposed to technically take one, and kind of hides out and observes everybody who is talking, because he has, at the address he went to, there is a flow sheet of all of the people who are connected to this DRUG matrix, right? So you got the Russians, you got the Turks, you got all these people, right? So the brother and sister are on this call basically trying to figure out what went wrong. What went wrong? Who's responsible? Why are we short the Coca-Cola? Why are we short the dinero? You know what I'm saying? We should be getting a larger cut, a larger pay, all of this, all of that. So everybody's denying any involvement, right? And so the guy in the red and black jacket who spotted Duke with the, bullet hole in his jacket decides to follow him, you guys. Decides to follow him and figure out where he is going because he figures, hey, I can be on this case and figure out what the tea is, right? So then ultimately as well, while this is happening, the friend that Duke met back up with when he first got out of jail that also stays at his father's gym, he is up here looking for Duke because it's nighttime. It's like 11 o'clock. Nobody has seen Duke. So Duke decides to go into Duke's room and sees that address on that magazine, idiot, and puts it in his jacket and goes to the address. So the guy that works for the marshals is in the black and white jacket. He gets there first. He sees that white van that was on the CCTV. He sees Duke walk in. So then he comes in as Duke is trying to give the updates on next steps on how this is going to go because the DRUG Connect in jail, you know what I'm saying, is trying to have his right man trying to find out, okay, is Duke going to be up for this? How is all of this going to go, right? And so basically he feels that Duke is still emotional, still going through some things. And, there's still some, rough around the edges that we got to clean up, that we've got to brush up on him with, right? And so he leaves the room. Out of nowhere, the gentleman that works at the marshals, he walks in, he sees all the evidence, he sees the Coca-Cola, he sees, the flow chart, and then ultimately he sees Duke. And Duke is trying to figure out, like, how did you get here, right? How did you get here? What are you doing here? And he's trying to question him. He's trying to get all the tea, get all the information so he can run it back to the marshals and Duke can get executed, right? Except for that does not go as planned. Somehow Duke makes a boiling hot cup of tea disappear. You know what I'm saying? Where the mist is just gone of how hot it is. And then they start fighting. And then they start getting into it. And then ultimately what has happened is it looks like, you know what I'm saying? Duke has unalived this man. So the friend somehow sneaks in at this point in time and sees Duke at this, and Duke's like, listen, I'm not a killer, but don't push me. He's like, I ain't no killer, but don't push me, right? And then the DRUG Connect from jail, his right hand suddenly reappears and is like, what the welly, auntie? He checks the pocket of the man that Duke just unalived and found out that he had a recording device. So he quickly took out the SIM card and the chip and all of this and all of that so that they cannot be tracked and it cannot be traced. But he is of confusion as far as who this other gentleman is that is there with Duke that he has never seen before because nobody else is supposed to know about this address. And then he's contemplating on, Pow Pow and Duke as well because this is a whole sloppy mess. How do you have two unknown people just randomly show up at their meeting spot? Makes sense? So that ultimately was kind of like the main things that has happened in the episode, you know what I'm saying, as far as, the premiere episode. I felt it was really good. I felt it had really good storylines. It has really good potential. I'm also going to watch episode 2 and get back to y'all and let y'all know what I think. But I felt that there was really a lot of good stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how this Joy and Duke situation is going to play out. It's going to be interesting to see Kingsley's role. Like, where is he? Why hasn't he been around that much? And has this been, what has been so important over these last 6 months in particular that you're just like not around your family? And are they going to figure out yet that Duke is not there to really work for the marshals, but is there to get revenge on the marshals? But he is going all about it the illegal way. It sounds like he has given up on boxing and is going to just turn to a life of crime. So ultimately, that is it for this video. I need y'all to do me the biggest favor. I need y'all to do y'all biggest one. And that is to hype the video. Hype the video, please. There's that. That is it. That is all. It's Cent'S Fightland. It's finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end of the line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post the content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.